Welcome to Watch Fixation. Today we're going to have a look at the Hamilton Khaki King Automatic. As ever, we're going to have a short introduction to the history of the company and then make a few observations about the watch itself. Hamilton is an American watch company which has produced pocket and wrist watches from 1892 to 1969 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It inhabited the factory, which was home to three other watch companies before it, the latest of which was founded in 1886 and was called Keystone Standard Watch Company. After its bankruptcy in 1891, the factory was bought by a group of investors with the aim of setting up a new company by the name of Columbine. Unfortunately, that name was already trademarked, so the investors came up with Hamilton, after Andrew Hamilton, a Scottish lawmaker who founded Lancaster and was the original owner of the land on which the factory stood. The first Hamilton pocket watch was produced in 1893. While their watches were incredibly accurate and reliable for the time, what set the company apart from others was an aggressive marketing campaign in an attempt to associate the brand with the most cutting-edge aspect of earlier 20th century America: railroad transport. What followed was a massive uptake of Hamilton watches in the railroad industry, and by 1912, 56% of watches in this industry were Hamiltons. There was another major industry, however, which at the time was looking for accurate and reliable timekeeping devices: the armed forces. 1914 was the year Hamilton was awarded a contract with this industry. Towards the end of the First World War, when American soldiers arrived in Europe, they noticed a trend which reportedly started in the Boer War, or South African War. Soldiers were wearing pocket watches strapped to their wrists. Hamilton quickly followed this trend and released the 981 a year later. The interbellum period marked the expansion of the company into aviation and water-resistant watches. This put them in a good position to be involved in all aspects of timekeeping in World War II, including bomb timers. The economic boom after the war resulted in 2 decades of Hamilton pushing the boundaries of design and technology. Hamilton was the first to introduce an electric watch to the market in 1957, packaged in a revolutionary design created by Richard Arbib. Arbib was responsible for Hamilton's famous asymmetric design in the 50s and 60s. Designs which were made famous by Elvis Presley. It is a well-known fact that his watch of choice seemed to be the Hamilton Ventura. This drive for innovation culminated in 1970 with the release of the Hamilton Pulsar time computer. This watch had no moving parts and it was truly a revolutionary watch. The company was eventually incorporated into the Swatch Group in 1974 and left the US in 1969. This move changed the direction of the company. The innovation seemed to stop and the brand was forced to recreate models from its past. In the 1980s, reissues of the Bolton, Ardmore, Wilshire and Ventura occurred, and the 90s marked the beginning of an era of aggressive marketing campaigns, which meant that Hamilton watches made appearances in many films and TV series. Men in Black featured the Ventura and the Pulsar. Dr. House wore a Khaki King. Even Captain America reportedly wore a Hamilton. The Khaki line is a reinterpretation of watches used by the American Armed Forces. It is split into 3 collections: Field, Navy, and Aviation. The Khaki King is part of the Field collection. It can be had with a black or champagne dial, with a tan or black strap or stainless steel bracelet. The newer models feature the H40 movement, which is used in a number of Swatch Group watches, including Tissot and Satina. My example is more than 5 years old, and it has the older H644 550 movement, which I believe is a rebranded ETA 2824. The case dimensions are fairly conservative, with a 40mm diameter, a lug-to-lug of 49mm, and a lug width of 20mm. Most importantly, in my opinion, The thickness of the watch is just under 11 millimeters. This is a field watch, which is almost dress watch thin, and it just disappears on the wrist. The stainless steel case is mostly brushed, with just the bezel being polished. This gives the watch a very utilitarian yet elegant look, in my view. The dial is fairly simple as well. It has 3 tracks which indicate the basic aspects of timekeeping: AM, PM, and minute indicators every 5 minutes on the outside. The hour and minute hands are polished with a good amount of luminescent material, and the second hand goes all the way to the edge of the dial and has a lumed tip. There are also lume pips on the outside of the dial. The day-date complication is a standout feature for this watch because of how it was implemented. Both sit at the 12 o'clock position with a day on top and a date underneath. So the dial kind of has a T-shaped cutout at the 12 o'clock position, which also interferes with the 11 and the 1. While it may seem sloppy at first, I think this implementation offers the watch a bit of a wow factor and differentiates it from the rest of the market. Everything is protected with a sapphire crystal, which in 5 years of use has not sustained a single scratch. The crown guards are very well integrated into the case. The crown itself is easy to handle and also has the signature H on it as well. The screw down exhibition case back allows us to see the 25 jewel movement and also states the watch's water resistance, which is 5 bar or 50 meters. The calf leather strap is starting to show signs of its age, but is still perfectly usable, and I think should respond fairly well to some in-depth cleaning. I basically worn this watch fairly often over my time with it, and I have taken it with me basically everywhere, on holiday, to the beach, on nights out, everywhere, and it hasn't really missed a beat. I think it could really be the perfect entry-level one watch collection due to its small thickness, as previously mentioned. I think you can even get away with wearing it with a suit, provided that you equip it with a dressier strap, which I will try to do now. As you can see, I've got 2 examples prepared. So yeah, I'll change the straps. So my only other 20mm kind of dressier strap is this vintage black Gikota strap with a white stitching, but I think it should showcase that the watch could be worn with a suit and it wouldn't be massively out of place. I'll try to put it on my wrist as well. So my wrist is 7 inches or just over 18 centimeters, and I think the watch works perfectly well. My only annoyance, let's say, is that the lugs are quite long, but so the lug to lug consequently is close to 50mm, which is a bit on the higher end for my liking. But yeah, I think it looks perfectly serviceable on a more dressier strap. One small observation to make about this, the wearability of this watch, is the fact that obviously the original strap is quite thick, so in order for it to integrate well into the watch head, the spring bar holes are pretty much halfway down the lug. So if you do want to change the strap out, you need to make sure that you get an equally thick leather strap or a heavily padded one. I've made the mistake of buying a fairly thin strap that I wanted to try out, and it doesn't really work very well, and I'll show you what I mean. So another Gikota strap, this time kind of a green vintagey looking one, quite thin, and because of where the holes are located in the lugs, the lug tips tend to protrude, and to my eyes it just looks slightly awkward. So if I put it on, I'll show you what I mean. So you can see the lug tips protruding, and it just doesn't look very well integrated. It's only a small detail, but it really bothers me. So yeah, pay attention to, if you do get a Khaki King, pay attention to what kind of straps you're planning to pair it with. Considerations before any prospective purchase. Number one, always buy on a bracelet if you can. I am trying to source a bracelet for mine at the moment, and it's proving very difficult and costly. Two, with automatic watches, always factor in the cost of servicing, as mine is over 5 years old. I think it needs a service soon, and the service with Hamilton costs 190 Swiss francs, or about £160. But apart from that, as a summary, I think the Khaki King really is the best Swiss automatic that you can buy for under £500, and its versatility and ruggedness ensures that it will get a lot of use. So yeah, thank you for watching Watch Fixation, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.